Typically, the trip between cities in the finals is much, much further than OKC to Indy. Indianapolis hosts Game 3 Wednesday. Looking back at finals history, the winner of Game 3 in a series tied 1-1 has won 33 of 41 times. That gives you an idea of the mathematical significance. Pacers did what they've done throughout the playoffs. They stole Game 1 on the road, but they've struggled to keep the pressure up for Game 3 in each of their playoff series. They're 0-3 in their Game 3s while being outscored by a combined 44 in those games. As for the Thunder, they've largely been in control throughout this series as they led for over 91 of the 96 minutes played. Also struggled in Game 3s as well as they've dropped 2 of their previous 3, including that 42-point debacling at the hands of the Timberwolves in Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. Odds makers at ESPN Bet Sportsbook have installed the Thunder as, I'd say, pretty hefty 5.5-point favorites given how good that building in Indy has been, in addition to being minus 550 favorites to win the title. In advance of that pivotal Game 3, here's the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
We just have to keep finding ways to get better as a group. If we continue to do that, we'll be just fine. But if we've struggled in an area, that's an area we can get better at, and we have to attack that opportunity. And I think Game 3 is a perfect example of that.
I think playing 2 games against these guys is really good. It gives me more film to watch, see where I can be better. Feel like I haven't been great by any means through the first 2 games. So, I'm just trying to take what I can to prepare me for Game 3 and just trying to be the best version of myself. So just keep watching film, see where I can get better. The answers always lie in the film.
Always enjoy my conversations with Brian Windhorst. Been fun to have some of them face-to-face when we were in Oklahoma City, and we'll do so again in Indiana on Wednesday. And Brian, this series pivots from the Midwest to, I guess, further east, but still the Midwest in Indianapolis, 1-1, which is all that matters. But you look at those 96 minutes, man, and the Thunder have been much better for most of it. How do you sense these teams are assessing what those 96 minutes have taught them?
Well, this is the way these 2 teams have sort of got here. The Pacers have been underdogs throughout the whole season. They started the season 10-15, underdogs throughout the playoffs. So the fact that people don't believe that they should be here or that they're way behind, it doesn't surprise them. I really don't think it phases them. And then, of course, the Thunder have had basically the best record in the league for almost the entire season. They were the heavy favorites coming into this, and the fact that they have led for like 99% of the minutes so far is an indication of them sort of finding their own level. But at the same time, one of their big challenges, I think, is staying grounded. That's a whole aspect of the way their team operates. And so that loss in Game 1, while it was less than ideal, did keep them grounded. So I'm not seeing either team break character so far, but I kind of feel like when we get done here with these 2 games in Indy, we're going to have a good idea of whether or not that's going to maintain.
What happened in Oklahoma City from their leader, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, following Game 1, Brian?
Yeah, so this was one of the more interesting things that you can only sort of see if you're on the site. And so while Tyrese Halliburton was sitting there with you giving that awesome interview after Game 1, and you had that moment with him, in the background, the first guy out of the Thunder locker room was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And he made a beeline. He walked right behind your set, and he went over to the families. And you've heard Shai say, I got to get this back to neutral. That's his mantra. I'm going to be consistent and neutral. But what does that actually mean? Well, I saw it actually happen. He walked over to the families who were a little bit shaken, and he told them, we're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be better in Game 2, and we're going to see. And so while he was the guy who suffered the loss, he was already working the families. And, that may seem trivial, but it's not, because the families hear that, and that trickles back to the players. That was actually showing leadership. And so what does he do? He comes out, and yeah, he has a great game, but he gets his teammates involved and re-engages them. A much better floor game from him in Game 2. And so I can't tell you how impressed I am with Shai. That's not a hot take. Obviously, he's the MVP. He's doing a lot of things positive. But he is doing such impressive stuff for a 26-year-old in his first deep playoff run. And I think that they started winning Game 2 about 20 minutes after Game 1 while you were still celebrating Tyrese Halliburton.
I feel like in Game 2, you felt not the full weight of the Thunder, but certainly you saw closer to it. And I found the comments of Rick Carlisle telling afterwards when he already was asking his fans to bring everything they had. I don't know if that building was at its ceiling for Game 2, but Carlisle saying we need our place to be completely behind us. I took that to mean we need all hands on deck and then some. Did you make anything of that, or am I making too much of it?
That's interesting perspective. I didn't think about it, but I don't disagree with you. I think the Pacers know they're in a little bit of trouble. And again, obviously they're playing a team that is some ungodly record this year, 81 and 19 or whatever they are. They know that. So I think what you're seeing here is the Pacers are having trouble getting to their game. And what their game really is, especially in half-court offense, Scott, is finding the weakness, finding the weak link and exploiting it. They definitely did that against the Cavs, brought them to their knees. They definitely did that against the Knicks. You saw what happened to Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on defense at times in that series. They can't find the weak link against the Thunder. And you're seeing it because Siakam can't get to his normal shots. Halliburton can't get to his normal shots. I'm talking about shots. Forget about points. They can't get shots. And the same thing happened against the last round against Minnesota, where people were counting Ant Edwards' shots. And Ant was like, I think I'm playing pretty well. I just can't get the shots. And that's what they do. And they're taking away the Pacers' teeth. They can't get that leverage with Halliburton. And that is worrisome to them. It doesn't mean they're out of it. If you count out the Pacers, you've been a money loser, okay? But that is something that they're feeling the trouble with. They're struggling getting to the way that they got here. And I think the whole team senses that edge.
I'm with you. That's what makes Game 3, I think, so telling, to see if the Pacers can find their footing, get back to their identity, and find something that borders on a weakness, whether it's a weak spot or a weak nest. We'll find out. See you tomorrow in Indy, Brian. I appreciate your time.
Look forward to it.
I'm on fire.